Now, the process of designing this has taken a lot more effort than I thought it was going to, and I reckon I've rejigged my design about 4 or 5 times, but I'm finally happy with the location of where everything's gonna go. So literally just on a PowerPoint presentation, I've made a 2-scale markup of my van space. This is the bed frame we've already built, and then this is gonna be the cabinetry and everything that's gonna need to fit inside of it. So we've got, for this side, I'm gonna be keeping my fridge and cooker, and then right next to the door, we're gonna end up with my sink to do dishes. Now, I'm also adding a little extension to the bed because I'm not fully happy with how comfortable it was with the size it's come out to. This is gonna be the dimensions of the first unit we're gonna build. I've drawn up roughly how I want the storage to look in the end. So above where my gas bottle storage is, we're gonna have 2 slide-out drawers, fridge right in the corner. Just to make life easy, I've broken up my kitchen cabinetry into essentially 3 separate units. I'm using what's left of my sheet of 12mm ply, and we'll build the sides, the base, and the back of it, ready for a front plate to go on out of some actual timber. In the designs I originally drew, the final cabinet was going to be at 800 high, and that's because I didn't want to block off too much of this window. But now that it's here, 800 is awkwardly low of a bench space. So I'm extending the whole thing up about 850. That just feels a bit nicer for me. I've got my first piece cut. Should slide in pretty tidy, unless I'm dumb, which I am. But that part right there was meant to be 2, and I've definitely done like 20, so this piece is now an offcut. Wood's not cheap, and so I can't really afford to keep doing this, but we'll be able to use it as an offcut somewhere. That piece is looking a lot better. My walls taper in a little bit, so I'm gonna have to notch around the back of this. I'm just gonna get my contour gauge and we'll do that straight away. My contour gauge is missing, so we're just gonna freehand this bad boy. I need my contour gauge. That is not it. I don't know what I'm doing today. That's the second piece I've wasted by cutting it wrong. Why am I so dumb? I can salvage these pieces by flipping them over. We finally notched out correctly. So that piece is looking a lot tidier. Now, before we go any further with that first cabinet, I want to pre-cut the sides for my fridge unit, as they're the biggest pieces that need to come out of this, and that will let me know what offcuts I've got to work with. Got these next pieces cut. It's gonna sit down there. This other piece is gonna sit up like that. We are still working on those cabinets, but I'm trying something I probably should have done a while back, just to save a little bit of money. All of my bracing up until now for the furniture has been built out of this pre-cut 30 by 45 pine, and 2 meters costs about 20 bucks. So my bed frame, just in the bracing, set me back like 300 to 400 bucks, which is insane. So I've bought a couple lengths of 90 by 30 framing timber, and if I can rip them down relatively cleanly with my saw, we're gonna end up with the same size pieces for literally like 1/8 of the cost. All right, so it's worked. The only downside of that is my saw did not enjoy going through all those. It's overheated that motor a little bit, so if we're gonna do that again, we'll maybe just do like 1 length, go do some other stuff, come back, just to give my saw a bit of a break, because I took an absolute beating off of that. Now, coming over to the cabinetry beside the door, I want to extend my bed by 200 mils, just to make it as comfortable as possible to sleep on. We're going to be extending that frame out to the inside of this wall. So I've taken some measurements. I'm going to quickly knock up that framework and then see about attaching that to the bed frame. I'm not enjoying working with this framing timber. With the bugles so close to the ends, I've split just about every piece I tried to put together. Currently finalizing the design for the fridge cabinet, and the biggest thing I'm running into is just making sure there's enough airflow so we don't burn the compressor. So I've pulled up the PDF for the fridge that I'm getting, and I'm factoring in a little airflow pocket underneath leading out to the top. I've put everything together just to get a bit of a visual for how it's going to look when it's finished, and currently that's about the height that my cabinets are going to finish up. It just feels a little too high just ergonomically inside of it. So I think we're going to knock off 50 mil from everything, which is a little bit annoying, but ultimately I think that's going to look and feel a bit nicer in this space. Now the fridge is 630 high. It means we're going to need 6 centimeters of airflow all the way from the bottom up to the top. I have to slide the fridge out to about here. The first cupboard is going to have to come out a little bit further, and it's not going to sit totally flush. It's not going to come together as cleanly as I hope. This is why we work these things out now, so we're not absolutely stitched up when we get our unit in. I'm going to go ahead and rip down all my pieces only by 2 centimeters.